It is an art, choosing gladiators. They're usually prisoners of war.
I claim this city for the glory of Rome.
You have something in you. Rage. Never let it go. It will carry you to greatness.
I had to ask, I just watched a trailer for the first time, this is war, real war, this morning. And I was wondering, was the trailer the first time that you actually got to see some of more of what the Gladiator pit looked like versus when you were on set?
I had watched the film, I believe before the trailer was put together. But I will say, to your question, that experience of watching the movie was so wild because it was similar to that of filming it. I'll never forget walking in the Colosseum for the first time. It just took my breath away. And then when I watched it on film for the first time, again, it took my breath away. You see it in this new way, which feels like the first time.
Well, I was trying to figure that though. So when you're there, some of the effects or some of the stuff that's not there. So is it Ridley shouting stuff off, saying, this is what this is what you're looking at, and then you guys are reacting to it?
Ridley says this thing, he would come up to you and he goes, I'll give you the best off-camera action you've ever seen. Meaning he frequently has the fights continue when they're not even being filmed. Something that maybe is known but is a big part of how Ridley films is that he uses a record-breaking amount of cameras. Usually 8 cameras that are being operated at the same time. So it means that he can more usually build something in the 360. He can cover something from a bunch of different directions, and all the action is happening continuously rather than the kind of discrete way, which it could be broken up when you're playing with one camera. So that's a huge difference, but it means that everything's happening all at once.
Okay, so Ridley Scott, legendary director, but then you're also working opposite a legendary actor, Denzel, and I love those scenes. And so I know, I was just told recently by someone doing a different campaign for him, how sweet and nice of a guy he is. But I was wondering, were you intimidated working opposite Denzel?
He's a hero of mine, so I felt that admiration. But I will say the experience of working with him was so amazing that the moment that you meet and you start to get into the scenes and talk about the characters and start playing, he's such an incredible person that that kind of distance that admiration might create slips away in the process of working. He's such a kind, thoughtful, and very present performer. So I felt like, once you roll up your sleeves and get to work, you're getting to work. I will. It's a blessing and will always be I will treasure that. I will always treasure that.
And then finally, I was looking, and I think you're barely a year old. I'm old enough that I saw this movie in the theater and I loved it. The original.
Yeah,
so I was wondering if you either got to see it or if you're going to visit it. And I don't know if there were instructions from Ridley to say, yes, go watch, or no, don't watch. I want you to have a fresh take when you're doing the acting.
Well, I'd already, I hadn't seen it in theaters when it came out. As you mentioned, I was too young for that. But I remember watching it on television and then watching it again on television and then again and over and over and over. It's the kind of movie where even if I have to go somewhere and it's 20 minutes in, I'm suddenly late for where I have to go because you just end up watching the whole movie. I'd seen it countless times. It was one of those movies where I could quote it back as I was watching it.
Rome must fall. I need only give it a push.
We make it out alive. All right. Tears on the mausoleum floor. Blood stains the Colosseum doors.
This ring belonged to Maximus. Now I give it to you. What is the dream of Rome? For people are not free.
I was owned. Now I will control an empire.
I will not waste another generation of young men for their vanity.
Strength among us!